If you haven't met me before, my name's Jordan. I'm one of the project managers here at Avocado, and it's probably too big of a table to do a round table, but we've got a lot of folks on the call from a lot of different YMCA's and from TechShare. So we're here today to go through Avocado Release 1.38. And we haven't quite done this in this format before. In the past, we've sent release notes out, we've discussed them with you individually, but we thought that this would be a good direction to head, a good way to keep everyone in the loop because the loop is getting bigger and so is Avocado. And this is a good way to make sure nothing gets missed. So what I'd like to do today first, I will point out there are going to be some additional upcoming sessions and demos. There's some big pieces of functionality in this release, and I can't teach it all to you today, and I'm not going to try, although I would love to. Instead, I'm going to point you towards all of the new things, and we'll do special sessions to go over a couple of those. I'm going to take a second to talk about the timeline for Avocado releases, when you can expect releases and when you can expect to hear about them, like what we're doing today. I do want to quickly point you to another new resource, a data dictionary, which may help some of you power users. And then we'll do what we're actually here for, which is go through some release note highlights. This is a big call, lots of you on, so I will ask you to mute, although at this stage, everyone's call etiquette's amazing. And if you have any questions, comments, please do send them through and send them through your account manager or your project manager. Or if you're not sure who or how, just send them right to me. I'm happy to have them. I do want to know what questions you have in mind as I go over these new features, these bug fixes with you. It helps me understand what information you want to hear from me when I'm reviewing them next time. So a couple of upcoming sessions. Let me just get them all on there. So we have 3 additional items that you should look out for. The first we're going to cover in one meeting. We are making some changes to the hold functionalities. I'll talk about that a little bit today, but it warrants its own discussion and its own session. So if holds and membership holds are important to you, do look out for that meeting. It's actually at this time in 1 week. We're going to talk about the way that the hold functionality is going to work moving forward. And in order to hammer that home, we'll go through some common hold scenarios, right? So what to expect if this, what to expect if that. And then at the end, we'll talk about what this means for reopening. A lot of you have a lot of memberships on hold currently, and you want to understand what to expect when we transition back to open branches. So we're going to do that at 4, and right after that, we're going to roll that right into a discussion of overall of memberships and reopening. So just in case only one of those parts is of interest to you, I will spend about the first 20 minutes of that from about 4 until 4:20 talking about holds. Might not need that whole time. And then at 4:20, we'll turn the discussion over to memberships and reopening a little more broadly. Separate meeting, but the very next day, also at 4 p.m., we're going to do a full demo of our new childcare attendance functionality. Some of you have seen that already. Thank you to the YMCA's who've been working with us really closely on that. And it's time to show it to everybody. So we'll do that just over, so a week from tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll talk about that a little bit today at a high level, but there's a lot to that, and we need really a deep dive to show you how that works and how to use it. So let's talk about these releases. The last year, I don't think I have to tell anybody, has seen a lot of ups and downs on all fronts, and it's meant that we've had to release to you, is maybe a better word, had to release to you rather quickly, and we're trying to impose some structure on this. And so our goal for 2021 is to move to monthly Avocado releases, and this is the first that you're seeing. What that looks like, after it leaves development, after it's ready for you, at roughly the stage we're at now, it goes into your sandbox. And that isn't merely a formality. Going into the sandbox is an important part of internal testing, right, to make sure you're comfortable moving all of these features into your production environment. And it's also an important component of getting some of these features ready, understanding how to set them up if they are something you're going to want to use right away. Once we get the approval from you, then we will schedule a time to move that into your live environment or your production environment. Right? So there is always going to be that 2-part step. Now that's for big releases, things like we're talking about today. It doesn't mean if there's a really important patch that we won't get that out to you sooner. But in terms of important and structured releases to Avocado, we'll be doing this on a monthly schedule, and this is the flow that we'll go through. And so before we jump into this release, I will point out really quickly that we do have a new resource for you, which is something we're calling the Client Data Dictionary. As Avocado has grown and our functionality has grown, you've all seen that it means growth in the fields and the objects, right, or the types of records that Salesforce holds. And for some of you, this doesn't matter, but for those of you who do use this every day, you are probably nodding your head and going, yes, I could use one of these. So if you're someone who is a power user, a back-end user, an admin user of Avocado, we have a public data dictionary for you. And there will be a link available to that. It is constantly updated. It's a live site. There is a link available to you in the release notes, which is what we'll go over now. Oh, there is documentation to go along with everything I'm saying right now. I sent that out to likely everyone on this call right before this call started. If you're having trouble getting your hands on these release notes to that link, just let us know and we'll send that over to you. I think those release notes clocked in at 9 or 10 pages when they were printed out. So there is a lot of detail there, and it's more detail than I could possibly go through today. So really what we're hoping to do is go high level here. And if there's something you want to dig deeper on, I think your first stop should be those release notes. And then if you have any questions after that, and I hope you do, send them on through to us. Oh, I didn't mean to say. So there are a couple of sections, and I'm just going to review 3 of them in this presentation. So there are new features, and there are 7 of those. There are changes to existing features, and there are 9 of those. And then there are fixes or things you might think of as bug fixes, and there are 12 of those. I'll go through all of those items in this presentation. There are 2 other sections that I won't review, but you should know about. One is schema changes, and that means a time where we've added a new field or a new type of object. And then there are custom settings, which let you control all sorts of things in Avocado. So all of those are available to you in those release notes. Okay, so let's start with some features. So first up is dynamic divisions. And this is a big change for longtime Avocado users. So moving forward, organizations may now create division names outside of the original trio. Right? So original users of Avocado will know childcare, camps, and either HFA or programs, depending on what you call it. And Avocado will now support creation of extra divisions. These will appear throughout Avocado menu and the Salesforce backend. And we've given you some controls on those divisions to determine whether they're part of program registration or not. Right? And you can see some more details on that in those schema changes. Now, the Avocado portal itself is still set up to display 3 tabs, which currently are programs, camps, and childcare for many of you. Those will remain, although know that you can change the text on those at any time. And you can work with the other new division features to determine which divisions are part of programs and are not. So more details on that in those release notes. But that's a big positive change. I know a lot of you are excited for that one. The second feature in here is the ability to restrict program registration in months. So this is particularly important to folks in childcare, although I'm sure lots of you will use it. Previously, Avocado would only allow you to restrict program registration in years, which meant sometimes doing some funny fractions. We still have that years field, but now there's a second field for months. So it'll allow you to restrict age in years and months. There are a couple of notes on that in the release notes that you should check out if you are intending to use that feature. Namely, leaving months blank is actually treated differently than setting it to 0. And that's how you have the option to control, say, 3 years, but not 3 years and 1 month, versus 3 years and 11 months, 30 days, say right up until that 4th year. So we've given you control at a pretty fine grain there. The third point, more details in the release notes, but a change to point of sale, which is going to give you the ability to void a refund that has not been processed. So think of these as your oops refunds, where someone has clicked provide a refund, but it hasn't been paid out. It wasn't intended to be created as a refund. you will now have the option to void those refunds. In many cases, I think previously the SOP that a lot of folks were using was refunding to credit. So it was a bit of a roundabout route. This gives you a more direct option to just void that refund as long as it hasn't been paid out. Feature number 4 is another big one. And for some of you, I know you've been waiting quite a long time for this and have been talking to us quite a bit about it. And that is childcare attendance taking. So this is the first area where if you want to learn more about this, come back this time next week. And sorry, on Tuesday at 4 o'clock next week. And we'll go through this in a lot of detail. But attendance taking from a really high level is in Avocado Menu and in Engage. What it allows you to do is take expected attendance at the time of registration. So if I use a childcare example, when we're registering for childcare, we can put in that this child will attend, say, Monday, Wednesday, Friday for every week of the month. That attendance information is linked to the order information, so it can update the quantity, the billing. We can also amend that later, so you can come back and change the expected attendance days, and that can change the updated order. And you can also do that through cancellation, so amendment and cancellation. And that's all in the Avocado menu. What makes this great is that it also ties into Engage. And so in Engage, you're able to now check children in and out with timestamps. You can also record who checked the child in or out, so you can have approved contacts for pickup. And we've added the ability for you to expect multiple check-ins in a single day. So for instance, if you have an instance in childcare that's maybe an AM and PM, like a both, you may need a check-in before school, check-out before school, check-in after school, check-out after school. So you'll have the ability to record both of those attendance records on a single instance. So I think you can imagine why this is going to take its own demo and walkthrough with you, but this will be in your sandbox shortly, if not already, and you can start playing around with it. And there's more details in the release notes. I'll also point out that this is set on an instance by instance level. So if what I just said panicked you, if you thought, no, we don't take attendance, that's okay. What we're doing is giving you the option to run an instance that uses the attendance functionality or run an instance that works the way you currently use it. And that's important because it means if you want to do both, you don't have to create duplicate programs. Right? You could have two instances in the same program, one of which uses attendance, one of which doesn't. It also makes it easier for you to test this and see how it's going to work out for you. 5, 6, 7, I will cover really quickly, and that is we've made a couple of really positive changes to the Avocado API. If you've been working on us with this, with us on this, then you'll know. Many of that was done to support OpenY and VirtualY options. If you want to learn more about API, the best thing to do is get in touch. But from a high level, the exciting part about this is that this now allows third-party systems to use your Avocado or community portal logins. Once it does, it can do things like create check-ins and check memberships. So your users, your members, your families, they have Avocado community portal logins, right, that they use to log into the Avocado portal. And so you can now work with third parties to use those same credentials to authenticate these users. So think about when you go to a website that isn't Facebook, but it lets you use your sign in through Facebook option. This is like a sign in through the Avocado portal option. And so members of the Avocado family are using this to do some pretty interesting things, especially in the during branch closures. So if you want more info about the API, get in touch and we'll talk to you about what your options are there. So that does it for features, and features are the biggest set of changes, but it doesn't mean they're the only important ones. In many cases, a small change opens up a whole bunch of new possibilities for you, and that's worth bearing in mind as we go through these changes. The first change is a change to the way that barcode generation can work. In the past, you could either have auto-generated barcodes that you could not change, or you could have barcodes that you could change but were not auto-generated. We have now given you options, and we can talk you through how these work with one another, that will allow you to auto-generate barcodes but still edit them. Um, this does come with a little warning, which is that it will always count the next highest barcode in your system. So if you allow folks to edit your barcodes and one of your staff members changes it to 99 million, then the next barcode will be 99 million and one. And that'll keep going until we get rid of those and make them lower numbers. So if you do allow editing of barcodes and auto generation, you can allow those both now, but there was a reason we didn't initially allow that, because it can cause you some trouble. So if you're going to go that route, talk to us, because there are measures that we have to help you put in place to make sure you don't get many digit barcodes entered in. So if you want to go down that route, please talk to us before you start playing around with your barcode settings. But that's available to you now. The second one is also a really positive development and can really change or simplify your membership structure, by which I mean the types of membership that you offer. And so this is membership packages, which now support recurring versus one-time fees. So Avocado will now allow a single membership package to contain a fee that is only charged once, so it's not renewed with the package. So for those of you who work really closely with your membership packages in Avocado, many of you will have package A, so adult membership with joining fee, that we sell for maybe 1 month or 1 year, or whatever your term is. And then it rolls over into a second totally different membership package called adult monthly without joining fee. That's a common scenario we see. And what that means is a duplication of packages, and that has implications for the way you report. This change allows you the ability to simplify that, to eliminate that second package. So instead of having 2 packages, one with the fee, one without, and having your memberships roll from one to the other, you can now just set up the package once, so that the very first time this fee is charged, and then it's not charged moving forward. Now, if you're thinking, no, I still need a way to sell this without the fee, remember, you can always also use discounts and take care of the fee in other ways. Right? But this simplifies your membership structure, the number of memberships on offer. There is an asterisk there to remind me that this does require a separate patch, which will not go in your sandbox right away, but you should get later on this week. Yeah, so the note there just being, this eliminates the need for rollover packages with and without joining fees. Now, we haven't changed your existing packages, so don't fear. But if that is a change you want to make, you now can. And if you need some help in doing that, just get in touch, and we can talk about a strategy for moving from your current setup to a new setup. See, one of my squares appeared, and all the rest were just there. Now you can see how I intended this to look. All right, so number 3, I'll also review quickly. Some of you use a payment processor called eCard, which runs on the NMI gateway. We made some updates to that, which you already know about if you received them. Number 4 is on programs and camps, and it's intended to fix a problem with the instance import-export function. So one of the things we've seen change in the last 6 months is the number of instances you use. We used to be really sparse on instances, but now that a lot more things require registration, we have way more instances. And many of you are hitting a limit when trying to search for programs and instances in the Avocado menu, and when trying to export them. This then became a problem if you wanted to say, export all of your instances in order to make a change and re-import them through the instance uploader. So that's all to say, we've added extra filters to that search function, and that's why. By letting you filter more finely, we're hoping you can reduce the number of instances that come back in that search, and therefore not hit that limit. So really, that's if you've been following along the release notes the last 6 or so months, that's really the latest in a series of improvements to that programs and camps export, import, and update functionality. A couple of changes for point of sale. These are unrelated, except that they all touch on the point of sale. So these are different items. So there has been a change to the way that we format the buttons. Some of you had really long labels on your buttons, and they didn't look great. That's been fixed. The second 2 are a little more substantive. So we've changed the way that we mark the payment schedule item when a transaction to a stored card is declined. That's for a few reasons. It'll make reporting a little clearer to you. And we've also changed the way that the payment schedule item is marked when you manually decline something on the payment screen. So that is a change to the status of payment schedule items. If you're somebody who is often reporting on payment schedule items, particularly surrounding declines, this may mean that you need a change in the way that you're reporting if you're filtering on the status in this way. Number 6 is a change to the way that balance payment orders are function in the back end. For many of you, not a big change, but the reason we did this, let me get that up, is to exclude those credits from tax receipts in the future. Many of you used this credit creation functionality heavily during your branch closures, and that had consequences for tax receipts at the end of the year. So we're making a change to the way that balance payment works in order to avoid this problem in the future. That if you do need to use those in 2021, and many of you already have, you won't face this problem on tax receipts at the end of this year. Change number 7 is on the Avocado portal. Clients now have the ability to view contacts barcodes. So small change, but in many cases, a big one for a few of you. In facility booking, we have improved the navigation. If you use facility booking often, you'll love this one. I'm not sure what that woohoo was for, Sarah. I'll hope it's for facility booking. Oh no, that's for the barcodes for you guys. But yeah, so we have improved the navigation of facility booking. There's one spot where a back button just would have been amazing, and now you have one. Oh, and number 9 is actually a big one as well. So on the Avocado portal, your members or families can go and see a calendar that displays all of their programs and bookings. One of the challenges you guys faced was that the waitlist registration showed up the same color as regular registrations, and so this led people to think they were in, when in fact they were on the waitlist. So we've changed that to help. We've made those a different color. Oh, I forgot to change the header here, but that was the end of the changes if you're following along in the doc. And now we're moving on to fixes. Sorry, it says changes continued. I'll fix that. Get it. I'll move through the fixes a little more quickly. For those of you who have been battling these bugs, I think you'll know them when you see them. The first is a change on the portal when you're buying a membership. There was some formatting problems with the images of your branches or locations. That's been fixed. The second, in the Avocado portal, when it comes to membership holds, Avocado will now enforce the minimum and maximum hold lengths. So for some time now, you've had the ability to specify the minimum and maximum hold lengths. Those weren't taking effect on the Avocado portal, so for your members. That is no longer the case, so those will now be enforced. Bear in mind that in the previous release, you also gained the ability to control whether or not members can place their membership on hold on the portal. It used to be that you had the ability to allow holds or not, just full stop. And now those are separate controls as of the last release. So you can allow holds in the Avocado menu for your staff, or you can allow holds in the Avocado portal for your members. So those are now separate controls. So this is a further update to that, which is now you can specify the minimum and maximum hold lengths. Oh, this is another change to that same program schedule calendar, the same calendar that we changed waitlist colors on. There was a problem where canceled registrations could still appear on that calendar. That was a bug that has been fixed. So 2 changes to that calendar. Also on the portal, this is number 4 on the portal. During program registration, there was a piece of text in the non-camps section, so under programs, that said about camp. It wasn't about camp, so now it just says about. Also in the portal during program registration, we resolved a bug with the membership session entitlements, allowing members to receive more free programs than the allotted entitlement. So there were some cases where members were able to over-register for programs, and that has been resolved. Now, this one is something I'm really excited about, but it also comes with an asterisk, or at least it should, which is that we have made great strides in the battle against AMP, but we have not fully won. So many, if you use Avocado regularly, you'll know that there are some cases where the AND symbol comes up as the AND symbol and then the letters AMP and then sometimes some other nonsense. We have eliminated a great number of those cases. They really fell into one of two types, and we've taken care of type A. So we will continue the battle against special characters, but we've made some great strides. Maybe we'll continue the war, but we've won this battle. I'll say that one. So these in particular are on the POS order screen in adjustments and in facility names. Number 7 was a frustrating little bug if you ever experienced it. When you're placing an account exception on an account, if no severity was selected, it would throw a weird error and it wouldn't let you continue until you figured out that this is what had to change. We resolved that. Also, we changed the display on the adjustments module. If you've been following along a lot with that, you've seen a lot of changes in the last 4 to 6 months in the way that adjustments work on the Avocado menu. So this, again, is kind of the latest in tweaks to that, and this is a change in the way that it looks, the UI. And we've also resolved an issue where adjustment rule names were being saved or set incorrectly. And that really mattered to you if you were trying to report on adjustment rule names. Number 7 is, or sorry, number 8 is the point of sale. We resolved an error in third-party reconciliation. So when you were in the third-party reconciliation screen and you had logged a check and you were trying to allocate those funds, there was a potential error where you were asked to remove $0 from it. And if you received it, I'm sure you wondered, how could I do that? And you couldn't. But now you don't have to. We've resolved that error. Similarly, we also resolved a penny rounding error that would occur at the same time, potentially, where the cent value was less than 1 cent. So both of those problems in the third-party reconciliation are solved for you. And also resolved an error when applying those account credits if you hadn't first launched the select account credits little modal. Next one affects program registration in the Avocado menu. We were talking about programs in the portal. This is programs in the menu. There was an error completing an order. If you clicked add instance without selecting the instance, it would error out when you then went to create the order registrations. That little bug has been fixed. And related to that, there was this add registration button, and we've removed that so that you can't experience the above error. Right? So you were basically able to click this button a step before you should have, and if you did click it, then you'd receive an error. Now the button appears at the appropriate moment. Another change to membership hold. We fixed an issue where the calendar simply didn't work properly when selecting the end date for the hold when you were creating the hold by date. In the outstanding collections report, there was an issue where you would get the file export, but with no extension. There'd be no dot anything at the end, and so you would have to manually add period CSV. That error has at long last been fixed. Very happy about that one. Number 12 affects class lists, and we removed reserved registrations from the class list report, so now you'll only see registered and waitlisted. Reserved was a status that's different from actually registered and waitlisted. And that is it. So that's not quite it. If you're following along in the notes, there are 2 sections there. One is schema changes and one are custom settings. Those relate to some of the items that I already reviewed. So if you want more details on any of these, head to those notes and really dig in. But that's all I have for today. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm thrilled that we got this many people out. I will send this video out to the same list, and you can feel free to distribute it more widely if you like. So thank you all for coming, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Jordan, it's Tamara. Can I ask you a quick question?
Fire away.
So with those special characters, is like the O apostrophe one of those ones as well?
That's right.
That's on the docket for fixing?
That's right. So it's not that we fixed all the amps, it's that we fixed some cases of all of the special characters. So you will still see them someplace.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
A few.
I just know that any of our O apostrophe folks have lots of strange characters that come up in their account names.
Yeah, we saved you a few characters. We shaved a few off.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you.
No problem. Good to
Take
see you,
care.
Sarah.
You too. Bye.